everybody, I am NicoD. So everybody who follows my channel knows that I don't have a smartphone. Well, that was until now. So now I've got a smartphone. So it is the Xiaomi Note 7 Pro. So I've gotten this from Yuri, so my best friend. So he came with this last week and I couldn't refuse the offer, of course. So it looks like it is brand new. The front, there is nothing on it except if you take off the case, then if you take off the case, then you will see there are a few cracks here, and the back is made of glass, so that is stupid. I don't know why they make that of glass, but otherwise it is a little bit bent like that, and goddamn, I keep pressing these buttons and it starts recording again, so that's not good. I'm trying to record also with this, and I'm pressing these buttons and it stops recording and it starts recording again, so I don't like that. So now I have to put on this again and it will again stop recording probably. So I'm not, see, it isn't recording anymore, so let's press record. Okay, so I am not such a proponent of smartphones. I don't find them that useful, but of course when I'm going on my trips I could use a good GPS. I do have a GPS, but it is a big brick, so this is a little bit lighter and it can do other things too. So it can be a spare computer for if my Pinebook Pro would fail on my next trip. I don't hope that will happen, because I love my Pinebook Pro, it is an awesome beast. So this video isn't a review, of course, because I've only owned a smartphone for 1 week. I can only tell you what my experience was with it. So in the past I have said that I don't like Android much, and I will stay with that, because I still don't like it that much. So the first thing I did was something totally un-Android-like, or something that most people will not do. So I will show you on this telephone what I did. So here we go! So here is a screen capture of my portable touch computer. It isn't a smartphone because I don't have a phone card in it. I just use it as a computer. So let's open Google Play, and the first thing I did was type user and then land, and here the first thing you see is what I installed. So it is already installed, of course, and I also had to install a second program, so for VLC. So I will show what I had to install, but it showed it after UserLAnd was installed. It told me this also needs to be installed. Do you want to install it? And you just have to click yes. So here VNC needed to be installed. It is also installed here. So let's close everything. And now let's open UserLAnd. So here it is. And here, let's flip the phone. Yeah, I am enjoying UserLAnd. No, I don't want to rate it at the Play Store right now. And I will not help with the development for now. I will later on. But stop bugging me! So here you can install different Linux distros. So Ubuntu, Kali, Arch and some others. And here I can open a Ubuntu console. So this is my console. I can zoom in on it. And I can run Linux commands and Linux programs. So I am more using Linux than Android, of course. So I wanted to see how this works on Android. So first thing I tried was a 7-zip benchmark, but 7-zip wasn't installed. So I just had to install 7-zip. So sudo. I don't like the on-screen keyboard. My fingers don't work very well with it. I always press the wrong buttons. Sudo apt install, so p7 zip dash full. No, not that one. Yes, that one, and full. So it does work with that keyboard, but I really hate it. So I will connect a real keyboard to it with a USB hub, USB-C to USB-A hub. So let's install 7-zip. And now we can run 7-zip, but of course I am screen capturing this, so it doesn't perform that well. It can get up to 14,000 for decompression, and that is quite high. My Odroid N2 Plus does a maximum of 12,000, so this is more powerful than the Odroid N2 Plus. It has got 8 cores, that's also something that 7-zip shows me, and the maximum clocks are 2 GHz. So let's fast forward this to the results. Of course, here it isn't performing well because of the screen capture. So let's go to the results, and here it is. It's only 8081. That's about Raspberry Pi 4. While it is overclocked. So that isn't great, but it can do almost double of that. That is just the screen capture thing. So let's search for some CPU information. Of course, this isn't real Linux. It runs on top of Android. It doesn't run bare metal. And it doesn't have access to all the hardware. So you will not get that much information. But for fun, I just wanted to see all this. So LSCPU shows me again 8 cores, 2 GHz as maximum clock. Oh, what am I doing? Okay. But it doesn't show that much, of course. So what else can I do? Maybe CPU info. So cat /proc /CPU info and press tab. So now I'm using my keyboard. It's a lot easier to work with. So this shows the information of every single processor core, but it doesn't show that much. Let me try to maximize this display a bit more because you can't see that much. And now turn back. I'm really not that good at working with this. Now let's open EdgeTop. It isn't found, so let's install it. Sudo apt install EdgeTop. Okay. I can also say that it doesn't run that quickly. I'm used to running Linux a bit faster than this. I guess the eMMC isn't that fast because it takes a while to open things. So EdgeTop isn't functional. As you see, it can't get all the information that it wants, and so it just shows 0. It can't access the cores individually, so it can't show the information of the cores individually. That is a problem that I've found with this Linux version. So if I want to run a program on one specific core, then it can't be done. You can run programs, of course, on all cores, and it will use all cores, but you can't run it on single cores. So let's install hardware info. Yes, install. So here it also doesn't show that much. Yeah, it's just some info. So let's go up, and here we see what we've got of hardware. And then the memory, 5 gigabytes plus 512 megabytes, so it's 5.5 gigabytes of memory. I don't know why it's 5 gigabytes plus 512, but I can find that out later on. So here the information about the cores, CPU cores. So there are 8 of them. And it's Arch 64. So that's the console of UserLAnd. Let me close UserLAnd now first, and all the other things, the BVNC free, so close it, yes. And now I can open another UserLAnd. Let me flip the display, yeah. So here you can also open Firefox, but you can also install a desktop. So here I've installed the XFCE desktop. This works rather well, but not that much programs will work. Here is what is installed. So here we've got the settings, but again, you don't have access to all the hardware. So for example, if we open the display settings, then you will see it doesn't have access to it. So that will not work. You can't change your display resolution. So if we go to multimedia, for example, there is Pulse Audio. Pulse Audio also doesn't work, so there is no sound in here. So you can use Firefox, but of course not to watch YouTube or so. It does play YouTube videos, but not hardware accelerated. So another thing that doesn't work is the Mate system monitor. So I installed this and it doesn't have permission even when I open it with sudo rights. It cannot open another display. So Firefox does work. So this can be very handy to have the desktop Firefox, because the Android Firefox just isn't that good. So with the desktop Firefox you can open a lot more websites. Here is the GLX info, so the graphics info, and it says error couldn't find RGB, GLX, visual or FB config. So just for fun, let's open YouTube. And you can watch a video, but it will not work very good because it isn't hardware accelerated. And you don't have sound. And my battery is almost empty. I will have to charge it, but I've got my keyboard connected to it, so I will have to wait. This is the second time I have to charge it in a week. But I don't use it that much, so that will be the reason. So it does play 720p at 60 frames. But it isn't a good experience because there isn't sound. And yeah, it isn't perfect. But for that we of course have got Android, and Android does these things very well. Video playback is perfect in Android, so why would you do that in Linux? You can use the Linux for other things that don't work on Android. So for those things this is very handy. So I also installed the game Neverbowl, which doesn't work, so not that much things will work. Scripts will mostly work if it doesn't need to access the hardware. So I also installed Geekbench, of course, to get a bit more correct information, so Geekbench gets more access to the hardware. So here you can see it is a Snapdragon 675. It is the Xiaomi Redmi Note 7 Pro with Android 10. It has 6 cores at 1.71 GHz, so these will be the power efficient cores, and then 2 cores at 2 GHz. So these will be the performance cores. They are not the same as A53 cores or A72 cores, but they are family of it. The display is very good. It's near 4K display. So let me go. So the display resolution is 2340 by 1080. So that is quite high. That is higher than my Pinebook Pro. So I also did some benchmarks on this. I don't find Geekbench very useful for the benchmarks. They add up a lot of scores from different things and it doesn't say anything. You don't learn much with it, but well, people like to see numbers. I don't know much about telephones, I have to admit. These things are foreign for me. I haven't used them at all in my life. So this is about the first times that I used a smartphone. And I find it intriguing. For me it is just a computer. I just want to access these cores because they are more performant than any SBC that I've got. But it is hard to access these cores, so the only good access way to the cores is actually the Wi-Fi. So it is 5 GHz Wi-Fi. That is pretty fast. I don't know how fast that should be. Maybe 100 megabytes. I think so, something like that. And there is also the USB-C. So that is a second access point to the SoC. But the USB-C is only USB 2.0, so it is only 40 megabytes per second. So fast access to the SoC is very limited. So for me, things that I would do on this, like rendering things, just giving it tasks, or building things, giving it tasks and let it run on those cores, and then take the result of it. But these telephones are not very good for these tasks. That is a bit a pity. I would have liked better access to the core so I could run some tasks on it, like video editing or Blender or building ambient images or whatever. But this isn't very possible like it is. Of course it isn't made for that. It is made for consumption, for media consumption, the way people use it. But that isn't how I will use this. I wished more of these SoCs would be used in single board computers, but they probably don't have PCI Express or something like that, so they wouldn't be that useful for that goal. So that's it for today. I must thank Yuri for this portable touch computer. I will try to use it well. I don't know yet for what I will use it, but we will see. So thank you all for watching. See you all later. Bye!